Hello, my loves, and welcome to June 2021's Energy Update. Whew. For those of you who are new to me or just finding me, I am Johanna Burkhardt. I am a multi-dimensional channel, teacher, and healer, and I'm here to really help you go from surviving to thriving, help you learn to trust yourself, love yourself, really know yourself, lead yourself, all the things that we ultimately are seeking at the end of the day. And that's part of my mission and why I'm here. And I feel like today's energy update is going to be much different than they usually are. So when you're hopping on, if you're catching the replay, say replay, hashtag it, let me know where you're watching from. Please feel free to share this broadcast out so that we can help each other. We can share that light and allow other people to learn how to navigate these energies. And I feel like this energy update is going to be much, much different than they usually are, which it's probably not, but it's just the feeling that I have. The energy that we're in is so new. It's so different. And let me know if you guys are feeling that, if you're feeling that difference in the energy. And it's been this way for a little bit. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the 3 themes for this month. We're going to briefly go over some astrological events that will be happening. But I really want to kind of I don't want to focus this on astrology or too much of the cosmos. I really want to spend this time talking about the things that they have brought forth for me to share with you guys, the themes, and really to understand this new energy, because this is the most important piece, is understanding the new energy, understanding what it means, understanding how to navigate it. So, like I said, feel free to share, feel free to drop your questions or your comments as we go. And at the end, I will browse through them and see if I can answer anything. So just know that you can be dropping that. And at the end, I will come back around. So as we speak right now, we are in a portal. And this portal is like the dark underground tunnel. We had the lunar eclipse and full moon. And that was really, that energy, that was just the peak. All the month of May and even the end of April, that energy was building. That energy was what we were all feeling, the intensity. We were feeling the photonic light, the plasma rays coming in all the way down to the bottom of our barrel, to the bottom of our well, and stirring it up and stirring it up. And it's like the stirring didn't stop. And so when we got to the peak of that lunar eclipse, it almost felt like a relief for some, and for others it was the peak of the intensity. And it was because all of that was building. And remember, something that I say in many of my energy updates and many of my lives that I've done is that our system works like a vending machine in reverse. So we're vending up the density up to our heart space. So it's coming up to our heart. And the closer it gets to our heart, the closer these densities, these limitations, these fears, the closer these things get to our heart space, the more intense they feel. The more intense they feel. So when you guys are in the emotional upheaval, when you are maybe in the chaos of the mind, or you're feeling the nausea, you're feeling the struggle, you're feeling the limitation, you feel like you're at your wit's end, your breaking point, just know that the more intense it is, it means it's right in front of your heart space. And the imagery, the metaphor that Spirit gave me today for this was, imagine this little girl or this little boy, and they had just escaped from the reality that they didn't want to be in, right? They found a tunnel, a secret tunnel, to get away from the very life that they didn't want anymore. And that tunnel was filled with mud and with sticks and with things. And so as it gets out of the end of the tunnel, it comes out and its clothes are dirty and it's tired and it's cut up and it is exhausted. And it's knocking at your door, and the door is your heart. It's knocking at your door, and you're on the other side of the door going, I don't want to see this. I don't want to face this. I don't want to look at this. And so you avoid it, and the knocking gets louder and it feels more intense and it feels more scary to you. But really, if you just opened that door and took that version of you in as shelter, if you just opened that door and let that little girl or boy in, and said, I'm not here to fix you, right? It's not about fixing them. It's about opening the door and letting them fall into your arms and surrender into your arms to let them know that they're now safe. This is a metaphor for what it means when that energy is intense and it reaches your heart space. What it's asking you to do is to open the doors and windows and to allow that in. So it's about removing the word letting go and instead allowing it to be acceptance, accepting that version of you that has died or that has just been through hell and back, or that's just got done walking the struggle, accepting them into your heart as if you would be answering that door for that little boy or girl and saying, you're safe now. And let me just sit here and be with you and hold you. And it is in that acceptance, in that beingness, that we integrate that version of ourselves. And that is the message here, right? So this is what we're going through right now. What we're going through right now is we're in that tunnel. We're in that tunnel going from lunar eclipse to solar eclipse. And in that 2-week window it's a shit show. It just is. It's a shit show. It's confusing. On top of that, Mercury went retrograde and it's squaring Neptune. And Neptune, as I've been talking about on my morning chats with you guys, is the woo-woo. There's a reason why they call me the woo-woo queen. I am ruled by Neptune. It's very deep. It's very wisdom-filled, but it's very mystical. It doesn't make any freaking logical sense, just as downloads, right? When you get a download, when you're channeling, when you get downloads or nudges or from your intuition or from your guides, they're incomplete sentences. They don't make sense. They don't make sense. And that's why so many people don't listen to their intuition. That's why so many people don't, believe the downloads that they're getting, that oh, this doesn't make sense. Well, your ego is logic. You're in your brain. You're trying to run off of the pre-programmed computer that is this human body and not listening to the soul that's trying to drive. There's an inner conflict going on between the soul trying to drive and have an experience that's ease and flow and enjoyable, and the ego and inner child, which is the old programming, the programming that came standard on your Tesla, on your human suit. There's a fight over who's going to drive that vehicle. And so the logic is, this isn't already in my computer. This isn't already preloaded and I don't understand it. Those are the things that you want to follow. Those are the nudges you want to follow, because the incompleteness is the quantum field. Remember, when we talk about quantum field, it's all inclusive. There is no linear structuring to it. There's no good or bad. There's no right or wrong. There's no judgment. There's no judgment. So we're going to go into that because there's a lot of stuff that Spirit wants to really bring through today and talk to you guys about. So know that if you're new to me, the energy updates are different. I'm here to help you navigate it. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to help you with the how. And this is why I continue to this day to offer private mentorship for those that really want a quantum leap, because that is how you do it, is me giving you the specific how to help you, the tools you need, the roadmap, the blueprint to help you go from where you are to where you want to be. And before we jump in, I want to let you guys know that I do have 3 new spots available for private mentorship. They usually go pretty quick. So if you're somebody who's really serious and really invested and committed to you and your journey and really up-leveling, this is a really good opportunity for you. All right, so let's dive in. So we have 3 themes for the month of June. They're activating. So we are in the activating energy. Monday of this week was the activation point for the solar eclipse, the solar eclipse that's coming. So Monday was really the activation day. I know for me, I felt a lot of activating energy. I felt a lot of, just a lot of energy coming into my crown. So we are in the activating window. So the first part of June is going to be activating. It's really about that creative energy. It's about the sparks. It's about the new seeds that are beginning to germinate and break open. So we're going to have that in the beginning of this month. In the middle of the month, we are going to be having a coming together, being the change in the chaos. So this is literally duality showing up in the middle of the month, which is perfect because the solar eclipse is in Gemini, which is the sign of duality, right? The good and bad. light and dark. Can't have just one side of the coin. You have to have both, and that's totality. And that's something that you guys hear me talk about a lot as well. So in the middle of the month, we're being asked to come together to be the change in the chaos. So we're going to talk about that, because that right there, the middle of this month, is the core of this energy. It's the table flipping energy. It is the quantum leap that's available. And it's really, really going to be potent. But we want to talk about this. And then the end of the month, the third theme is going to be breaking free, but slowly. It's going to be a slow breaking free. It's going to be a slow and steady step forward. It's going to be something that's a little bit more methodical. It's going to be us really feeling the new energy. So even though I'm already feeling this new energy, and some of you may be feeling it too, for most people, they're not. And they're not going to feel the newness of how this energy works until the end of the month. So it doesn't really matter where you are on your evolution. Remember, the evolution is that circle. It's the totality. And it doesn't mean that somebody's more advanced than you or further along with you or more awake than you. It's just a different space on the evolution. So remembering that is important, because you are always exactly where you are supposed to be. There's always a purpose in exactly where you are. And if you don't like where you are, it's about taking that wisdom from my cat. Does not like the galactic beings that are in the room. It's really about you. Ginger, you pulled me out of channel. Hold on a second, you guys. Let me pull my train of thought back in and take a drink of water. So it's about knowing that you're always exactly where you're supposed to be. And that if you don't like where you're supposed to be, there's wisdom there for you. So once you pull that wisdom, not the story, right? Not the blame, not the story, not the blame, the wisdom. Once you can extract that wisdom, you can carry on with your journey. That wisdom actually becomes the stepping stone for the path to the new, to the place where you want to be. So let's talk about the beginning of the month and the energy that we're in right now. And let's talk a little bit about the new energy that I've been speaking of. So the activating energy, this is that I told you guys last month that the lunar eclipse was activating that basically that table flipping, right? Where the divine intervention, this is where people are coming in. There's going to be divine alignment happening here, destiny, if we want to call it that. So these are when contracts and new contracts begin. This is where the rug gets pulled out from underneath us. These kind of type of energies happen, and the miracles come in. So it's not just negative. We think about intense energy. We think about table flipping or, these big astrological events. And we immediately, the human program system automatically goes to the negative. And what we want to do is remember that uncertainty means possibility. And when we're in uncertain energy, that means there's the potential for both good and bad. And what we focus on is actually what we're going to call in, what we're going to create. When we seek certainty and stability, that is concrete. So think about the things that you don't like in your life and how certain those things are. Think about how concrete some of those things are in your life. And you're like, I wish I could change this, but there's no changing it because it's already stable. It's already concrete, even if you don't like it. So when we can change the way that we see and feel the word uncertainty and that energy, of which feels ominous, it feels confusing, when we can change our mindset around it and say uncertainty equals possibility, that means that this could go good or bad, and which one would I rather have and how would I like it to look? And while it may not play out that exact way, you're still focusing on the better thing. Now, that doesn't mean we bypass and we don't face the fears that we're looking at. We don't bypass and avoid, distract, medicate, repress the negative or the story, right? And this is why me and my 4 frequencies that I teach are so important, because we have to know that it's about both. You can't have one without the other. So it's acknowledging what you don't like, seeing it, right? Acknowledging that it's there, calling it out by its name and saying, that's the freaking old program. And that's outdated. And it's not going to allow me to do the things that I want to do now. I prefer to continue to practice using the new program that I don't quite understand yet, that I'm still new at operating, but I'm committed to learning this new program and this new energy. So it's a choice. And that's something that I've talked about for years, which my team calls choice consciousness, knowing that you always have a choice in how you see something. Today's post that I did on social media, was a quote by Dr. Wayne Dyer, but it was so prevalent to this energy right now, and seeing how we participate in the very things that we don't want to play out. You can't have chaos, and you can't have drama, and you can't have all these inner conflicts if you're not participating in it. You have to participate in whatever it is that's happening in your reality. So whatever's happening in your reality right now, if you don't like it, stop participating in it. Acknowledge it, observe it, witness it, but don't participate in it. And so it kind of worked out perfectly for where we were going today. And this is before I even really started to channel anything. So this activating energy that happened with this lunar eclipse, right? It was activating the divine realignment. It was activating the new thing. So what's happening is we're going through a process of cleansing, right? They call it the cleansing of the waters. And for those of you who have taken my course Unity, or who have worked with me privately, my modality is called the purification process. And that's exactly what we're doing. The purification process is based off purifying your energy, your waters, your body, everything that is the totality of what makes you up. So we're going through a purification right now, which can seem sucky. It just doesn't feel good, right? So a lot of us are in the thick of it. We're in the mud, and the mud is pulling out the toxins out of our body and bringing it up for us to see and go, oh yeah, I don't want that. Oh yeah, I don't want that. So we're going through this purification process right now. And as we're coming out of this, towards the, as we get closer to the middle of the month, it's like we're going to be presented with an impasse. We're going to be presented with choosing our path. Which way do you want to go? And this is what a lot of people are going to call the splitting of the timelines, or the splitting of dimensions, third dimension versus 5 dimension. And I want to touch on that for just a quick second. And I want to say that Gaia as a whole is in the 4th dimension. And most people most beings, human beings, I would say, that are residing on Gaia are also in the 4th dimension. And even if you don't feel like that's the case, we wouldn't be able to talk about the things that we're talking about publicly now if we weren't already in the 4th dimension. If we weren't talking about the truth, if we weren't talking about galactic beings, if we weren't talking about med beds, if we weren't talking about all of the new technologies, which is why they have to do the disclosure in the first place. If you haven't seen that video, go back on my YouTube and watch the disclosure video. It's very interesting. But there's going to be more disclosure coming out than just the galactic beings. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of information that's going to be divulged. And this was kind of the timeline. It's like, do it now, or we're going to expose you and we're going to call you out, and you're really going to look stupid. And so this summer is going to be a bit of a shit show, but it's like watching the soap opera on TV, right? You got to watch it. You have to observe it. You have to just observe it and know that it's playing out just as it needs to be. And this is where they want to, before we go into the middle of the energy month, they want to talk about non-judgment, because there's a lot of spiritual beings out there. And listen, I'm not perfect. There's moments of time when I go into this for myself, because I still have an ego and I'm still human, and we don't ever get rid of our ego, right? We just integrate our ego. So there's a lot of spiritual people, or light workers, or whatever you want to call them, that are very judgmental right now about those who are getting the jab, or those that are, believing in certain things that don't align to what they deem to be what an awake person would see. And what they want to say is there's no judgment in 5D. There's no judgment in 5D and beyond. There's no judgment in oneness, because we understand that we are one of all things. We are the dark and the light. We are the good and the bad. We are all things. So if you are judging anyone for their choices, then you are still judging yourself, number one, and you definitely are not in a 5th dimensional consciousness. You're not in a unity consciousness. And how we want to talk about this is acceptance, not agreement. Can you accept that that is where they are on their evolution, even though you don't choose that for yourself? And that's the non-agreement. Acceptance, not agreement. So can you accept what someone is choosing to experience, even though you don't agree with it? Can you accept what someone is choosing to believe in, even if you choose to believe in something different? So you don't have to understand why somebody feels the need to do this. I am not choosing it for myself. My guides have told me a lot of information about this that is not good for the human or our journey. But again, they also tell me at the end of the day, we are here to have a human experience. We are here to have a physical experience. We are here exploring frequency. And when we understand that, we understand that there are certain people that have decided to experience what we would deem negative, what we would deem dark, what we would deem ridiculous, if we're looking at them through our ego, through our lens of wounds. And that's okay. That's something they chose to come and experience. It's something they chose to explore. That's a frequency. Because remember, again, I can never say this enough. There is no separation between dark and light. They're just different ends of the same spectrum. And the center point is where we're all trying to unify. It's the 0 point field. It's the neutral field. And if you think as a light worker that you didn't have many, many lifetimes as someone exploring the darkness or exploring the dense frequencies, then you're not truly to that state of awareness that you claim to be, because you would know that you could not have gotten to this level of the spectrum if you hadn't started at the other end. So it's about understanding that we are a mix of everything. I am you, you are me. So this is my challenge for you this month, is to stop judging yourself first and foremost for your choices. Make a choice. If you walk in that door and it's not comfortable, it's not what you want, close that door, go into a new one. We are essentially playing a video game. You open doors to figure out what's in here. Oh, I don't like that. Let me go out. Let me go in here. What's in here? Stop judging yourself for where you're at. And then when you see someone making a choice that you don't align with, can you acknowledge in that moment, that's where they are on their journey, and that's perfect for them. It's not what I choose for myself, but it's okay for them to choose that. And the only reason why we want to argue with people or get defensive with people or try to prove our side to people is because of fear. Because if you really had no fear, you wouldn't care. You just wouldn't. You wouldn't care where they are. So it's a call for you to recognize that when you're judging someone, there's a fear there, and that their decision is going to have some type of effect on you. So as we come into the middle of the month, this is where we're going to talk about the new energy. And the new energy is really about being the change. We can't go back to where we were. That's impossible. The new energy that here is much different. It's about self-leadership. It's about embodiment. It's about practicing what you preach, walking your talk. So if you're not walking your talk, if you're not practicing what you preach, if you're not being the change in that in which you want to see in your own reality, your life is going to reflect that. Remember, so within, so without. If you want the outside to change, you have to change the inside first. You can't hold a ton of money if you believe inside of you that if you are lacking, if you are not worthy. If those are your core beliefs, you won't be able to sustain anything, right? You will only get trickles, a little money here, a little money there. You have to build your structure that is made up of the belief systems that you are worthy. So this is why it's called being the change. But in the middle of the month, we're really going to start to feel that call to synergize, to come together, to network, to rely on each other, to do it together. And that's also going to be the internal aspects of your being. Remember, everything starts with you first. You go first. So inside of you is, and I talk about this in depth in Unity and Reclamation in my courses, those two courses, but we are very fragmented beings. The healthiest person in the world has 22 fragments. So if you've had trauma or any little trauma, big trauma, you've had heartbreak, you've had any types of things, those are fragments. Every time you resist something, every time you don't want to feel something, every time you avoid something, you are creating a separation between you and a part of yourself. Those are fragments. So when we talk about coming together in the middle of the month, it's about you coming together internally, all the parts and pieces of you coming together to work, to be committed to getting you to where you want to be. That's no more inner conflict. It's a coming together. It's a unifying, a synergy. And we're going to be doing that externally as well. So don't be surprised if you see movement, grassroots movement starting, or, you feel more drawn to reach out to people, or more people are drawn to reach out to you. Because in the middle of the month, we also have Saturn and Uranus coming to an exact square again, an exact conjunction. And Saturn and Uranus are like father and son. One wants to rebel, the other one wants to control. So the only way to move forward is to unify. So that means that you got to learn to work together. And that means that you have to see and hear each other. And you have to do that internally. Again, this is why I teach my 4 frequencies as part of my modality. So if this is something you struggle with, reach out to me or head to my website, because there's courses that are going to help you with this. But you want to come together. So this new energy is going to, from this moment on, it actually already started, but a lot of you aren't going to really feel that shift until the end of the month. But there is no more band-aids. There is no more quick fixes. There is no more shortcuts. The shortcut is you becoming the change, you leading by example. So if there's something that you want your community, your world, your family, if you're wanting them to shift, then you have to show them, not tell them. Actions speak louder than words. You have to be walking your talk and not telling them as you're walking. It's not like this is how you do it and you walk and you tell them. No, that's not what I mean. It's you just do. Every time, people are always watching you. We are sentient beings. We learn through observation and emulation. So if your kids are acting up, you need to look what's happening at a subconscious level with me, because your children are always going to mirror that back to you. If somebody's treating you like crap, you need to look at that and say, am I treating myself like crap? Am I treating myself like crap? That's what that person's doing. They're treating me like crap. So you need to look in the mirror, right? Because everything will be reflected back to you. And this has always been a thing, but from moving forward on, that is going to be the only thing. You have to become it. No more excuses. No more blame. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be really honest, you guys. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted from the up level that I've been going through this year. This year has been the biggest, longest up level I've ever gone through to date. And I could cry just talking about it because I'm so tired, because it's work. But I know because of how tired I am, I'm at the end of the tunnel. I'm almost there, right? When we walk 20 miles, the last couple of miles feel like death because we're so beat down. You have to stay committed. You have to keep showing up for yourself every day, using your tools, doing the inner work. And this is why my job is to give you those tools, is to teach you those tools. Everybody's toolbox is a little bit different, and any energy works a little bit different. So this is kind of an overview. You can take what you want, or you can work with me privately or someone else that's going to help you. So this is about you being the calm in the chaos, you being the change. And I talked about on my post today on social media, even a hurricane has peace. And as someone who lives in the Carolinas, I've been through many hurricanes. And when an eye of the hurricane comes over us, it is the most peaceful, quiet, still energy you'll ever experience. I can't explain it other than it's like you're literally in a void. There's no noise. There's no wind. It's dead calm. It's dead silent. It's very ominous because it's such a weird feeling, but you can be that. You can choose that. You can choose to be the calm in the hurricane. Or you can choose to participate in the hurricane because you're trying to figure out who made the hurricane, what the hurricane is made up of, where the direction of the hurricane is going. Same as I talked about the waves the other day on our morning chat. I said you can either surf the emotional wave, or you can be like trying to control it. Where'd the wave come from? How big is the wave? How long is the wave going to last? You're going to suffer. You're going to be confused. You're not going to have any kind of stability. You're going to fall down. You're going to hit the coral. You just have to surf it. You just have to choose. But the middle of the month is what the guide said, the changing of the tides. Those are the words they use, the changing of the tides. And what I feel like is a lot of us have been feeling a pullback, especially if you're what I call a way shower. We have to go first. So a lot of times the stuff that I'm going through right now, I have to go through that so that I can help you navigate what's coming. Right? That's what a way shower is. A way shower is a little bit further ahead on the evolution. They're the ones holding the light. They're the ones that are saying this way, not that way. I already took this path, and you want to walk slow and be careful, there's a pothole. That's what the way showers are doing. So if you're not navigating this and documenting how you're navigating it, because to do that, then I wouldn't consider you to be a way shower. So I know some people ask that a lot, so I'm just going to address that right now. But the changing of the tides is that pullback. And so things are being stripped away. Things are being sucked out, almost like a tsunami. I feel like we're shedding, we're exposing. When the tide comes out, we see the bottom of the sea. And I feel like even though this is going to be happening in the middle of the month, I actually feel like it's kind of a metaphor for the next 6 months of this year. I feel like over the next 6 months, we're slowly going to be pulling back the tide so that everything will start to become exposed. You might not understand it. You might not even know that it's been exposed, right? You're standing on your little patch and that's what you can see. But if you were to go up in a helicopter, you would see everything that's being exposed. Right? But we don't always see everything. We only see what's right in front of us a lot of the time. So know that there's way more that's going to be exposed than will ever be publicly put out or that you will see, but it's happening. It's happening nonetheless. And everybody's going to see a little bit of a different part of that exposure. And we come together, right? And we unify and we say, oh yeah, I saw this. And oh yeah, I saw this. Or I can do this and you can do that. You start to help each other. And this is where we begin to lead ourselves, because as I've mentioned several times over the last 6 months, we are being asked, and this is part of why the I Am Awake movement started in 2019. We are being asked to lead ourselves. And that means you don't look to the government, any government, whatever government country you have, for the answers. They're not going to save you. They're not going to tell you where to go. And they pretty soon might not be providing for you the things that they've been providing for you. And you are literally going to have to fend for yourself. You're going to have to lead yourself. This is why I've been talking about this for 2 years. I talked about it in the beginning of 2020, and I'm still talking about it today. This isn't about preparing for doomsday. It's not about preparing. You can't prepare for this. I mean, you can, but it's about preparing inward. And this is why I said last year on January 2020, I said, you better figure out who you are. You better figure out what your boundaries are, what your container, your thing is made of, what you want it to be made of. You better make sure it doesn't have any energy leaks, any holes, any cracks that are going to break when the storm rolls in. You better make sure that you have the tools and that you've been practicing trusting yourself, loving yourself, and surfing those waves. This is why I've put out the courses that I've put out. This is why I've done the mentoring that I've done and privately, because this is what I have been preparing you guys for and telling you this is how you lead yourself. You know who you are. You know what your structure is made of, which is your boundaries. They're not a fence. They're not a defense. I don't believe in energy protection. Protection implies resistance. You don't want to feel something. What you resist will persist. So it's about understanding how to read your energy. You know what your energy is made of. You know what everything means. You have good discernment between where you end and someone else begins. You can discern that this isn't about me. This is just something that's happening. It's happening for me. It's learning to trust and love yourself at your core. That's how you lead yourself. This is where we will be from this point on. This is where we're going to be. This is also an opportunity in the middle of the month for a very big quantum leap for anyone who's ready for it, for anyone who has the courage to do it. And that quantum leap is going to look scary as hell. It's going to be unnerving. It's going to feel like everything is falling away and you're on the cliff and you don't know what to do and you're going to be asked to jump. And I've been through that many, many times. And that's why I attract the people that I attract to mentor with me. Because those are the people that are like, I'm not sure my wings are ready, but let's do this. You know, when the bird's in the nest, it watches mom fly away multiple times. Mom doesn't pick it up and teach it to fly. It says, watch me, watch me, watch me, watch me. And sometimes the bird flies and the baby flies, and sometimes the baby falls. But the mom is not doing it for the baby bird. It's just saying, watch me. Same with animals. And this is why the ancients have been coming in, because we have to learn from the wisdom of our ancestors. We take the wisdom, not the story of hate or segregation or lies or abuse or neglect. We don't take that. We don't take the stories, and we don't take the blame, whose fault it is. What use is that? It does not serve anybody. We take the lesson, the wisdom, and we say, this is it. That's the seed I need. Now I can grind that up and make a new stone that's going to lead me, right? That's going to be the wisdom that I need. The wisdom becomes the foundation. That's why they tell me that saying, when you let go of the story and you let go of the blame, you allow wisdom to lead the way. This is the new energy. And the other interesting fact about this energy is that it's different in the fact that each person has such potent choice. And this is why I know without a shadow of a doubt that there's no one and no thing left in 3D. 3D is not choice, it's victim. 100% across the board. 4D, you have choice. 5D, you have choice. You have a choice. So you need to understand that. You need to really understand that energy. There is no purpose in fighting anymore with what is. It's about representing what you believe to be your truth, what you want to see in the world, and then being that beacon of light. Being that beacon of light. So we have choice now. And because of that, everyone's going to experience this energy much differently. Someone can choose one way and they're going to experience the energy very different. Every day, every moment of that day, you're making choices in your mind. Your thoughts, your words, your actions create your reality. Whatever that undercurrent is running is what is dominating. So if you're pretending to be life is grand, you're wearing the mask, I feel great, I'm abundant, blah, blah, blah. But internally, you're like stressing out and you're worrying and you're replaying, oh my God, I hope they don't find out. That undercurrent, your subconscious undercurrent, is the dominating energy. Always. It doesn't mean you can't still speak what you want into existence, but it's about recognizing the undercurrent and saying, hey, that's an old program. We've updated our system. We're just not used to that new system yet. So let's practice using the new system instead. Thanks for offering me the old one, but I'm going to stick to the new one, even though I don't get it yet, even though I'm still fumbling. It's okay. Every time you learn something, you master it through practicing it, right? That's what you're being asked to do. And so this is why I mentioned, in May that I was thinking about not doing energy updates anymore, because it's going to be challenging for me to bring forth an accurate reading. This is collectively, but everybody has such power and choice right now that what they experience, their level of suffering or their level of bliss, is going to be dependent upon the choices that they make on their undercurrent at any given moment. So that quantum leap is available because if you're choosing over and over again, you're doing that real good work, that internal work of showing up for yourself every single day when no one's watching, right? The most spiritual thing we can do is be human. That's you practicing. It's you being the change and not judging yourself when you mess up, when you fumble, when you fall, when it doesn't work, when you catch yourself. So it's a practice. But that quantum leap is huge. And this is where you're going to see a lot of when changing the tides, you're also going to see a lot more of the gurus, which we've already been seeing. A lot of the old spiritual gurus are starting to fall away. A lot of the celebrities that we used to put on pedestals are falling away. We're seeing the changing, right? The money system's about to change over the next 6 months. That quantum financial system is going to start to come online, and we're going to fumble our way through that. So we're going this changing of the tides. Everything's beginning to change. So it doesn't mean it's going to happen with a swiftness, but we're going to start to see the pullback so that everything can be exposed, not to fix it, not to yell from the rooftops, I freaking told you so, not to be like, oh my God, it's so dark and dense, it's getting worse. No, it's always been this way. We're just now seeing it. We're seeing what we couldn't see before, but it was always there. Just because you can't see the floor of the ocean doesn't mean it's not there. Right? You just didn't see it. So nothing's getting worse. It's just being exposed. You're just seeing it. And it's not so that we can preach and yell and fight and do all these things. It's so we can hold space. The ancients said in 2000, was it 2020? I don't remember what year they said it. Maybe it was, anyway. I have no timing anymore in my life, but there was a karmic underbelly that was coming up. And they said it's not to fix. It's not to be, fighting with each other and trying to say my way's right or look at what they're doing. It's not for that. Every time you see something on social media or in physical reality that is triggering to you, that makes you sad or angry, it's an opportunity for you to open up your heart and wrap that in a warm blanket of love and hold space for it. Be like, I see you. I see your pain. I thank you for allowing me to see what's always been there and to wrap it in love. And I know that a lot of people are like, oh, what is that going to do? It doesn't make sense. It makes 100% sense. The only thing that heals is love and compassion. And we can't have love and compassion if we don't first feel safe. A lot of people want to teach self-love or to teach you how to love other people. But if you don't feel safe to do so, you're not going to open up your heart. You have to feel safe to open up your heart. So we want to create a safe space in each of us and in our world so that as this exposure happens and more people wake up, it's not, I told you so, you thought I was a crazy conspiracy wackadoo. It's, I'm here with you. I'm here with you. I'm going to sit in the dark with you. This isn't a time to be like, I told you so. This isn't a time to be that way. That doesn't create safety for people to express themselves. Be the freaking change. Be the safe space. And if you don't know how to do that, it's probably because you don't feel safe inside of yourself. And if you don't feel safe inside of yourself, you're not going to trust yourself. And if you don't feel safe and you don't trust, then you're not loving yourself. They all go together. It's that beautiful triangle. The end of the month, we're going to be breaking free slowly. This is a coming out of the tunnel moment where we don't know where we've been underground for so long. We don't know where we are. We come out and this is a new city. I don't know where to go. I don't know. I have no direction. I don't know the people. I don't know anything. So I've broken free. I'm in a new space, but now I got to walk slowly. I have to be super aware. I have to allow the light, my internal cosmic light, to guide me, because that's what's being activated right now, is the solar plexus, the cosmic sun, the internal cosmic sun. So you have to allow that to drive you, because there's going to be a rebalancing, right? You've been crawling in the mud, coming out of the dark tunnel. You get up and you're a little disoriented and you're like, oh my God, where am I? And I don't know where to go, and I don't know anybody. And you start the process of rebalancing. There's a lot more stillness, and there's a lot more calmness, and there's a lot more slowness. So even though you might have clarity and you might feel really good about where you are, it's going to be a slow process, right? We're going to have 5 planets in retrograde this month at a certain point. And when we talk about retrograde, we understand that retro means internalized. Like retro, like go back, but in time, but it's going within, actually. So it's going within you. And when we're going within you, a lot of time that's digging up a lot of the old stuff. Again, so this is what we're experiencing all month, but it's not to, because you didn't learn the lesson. Again, it's coming up. It's saying, this is the old program. Do you want to run this? Let me offer it to you. It's easier. You know it. And you're like, oh no, that program is not going to get me to this next level. Thank you for offering me that old program, but I'm going to do the new one. I don't understand it yet, and I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to sit down. I'm going to practice it every day. I'm going to figure it out. So towards the end of the month, we're going to feel that energy of breaking free. We're going to feel that newness, that freshness. This month is helping us quantum leap into divine new beginnings. Divine new beginnings. These 2 eclipses are the cycles within cycles within cycles that these are closing out are insane. So you don't have to understand the energy. I mean, if you're into astrology and you're into all of that, cool, like you can go explore that. But you don't have to understand what's happening in the cosmos. What you need to understand when you're seeking out what's happening in the cosmos, I don't feel good. You're looking for a reason why you don't feel good. Can you just accept that you don't feel good? Can you just accept that you're in doubt? Can you just accept that you're in fear? Can you just accept where you are? Be like, this sucks. This is where I am. Is what it is. Can you allow yourself to experience that? Can you tell yourself, this is what I'm experiencing right now? This is what this feels like. This is what this feels like. You don't have to like it. Most people don't. And as we go into July, we come into the galactic new year, right? So again, we're starting the new. The end of June, beginning of July, we're really stepping into the new, right? There's going to be the turning point. The galactic new year is so potent. So we'll talk about that when we get into July, but let's talk about the astrological events that are going to be happening. I made a list here. So on June 10th, we have the new moon solar eclipse in Gemini. Again, this is going to be the activation. So we went through the lunar eclipse, which was digging up, the purging. And we're still kind of going through a little bit of that purging as we're preparing, right? We had the activation on Monday. This is activating the new energies. So one of the cycles of this is 2012. In 2012, the eclipse activated something. I didn't actually make the decision. Even though it activated it, the decision didn't manifest and play out until September, October of that year. So this next 6 months is the turning of the tides. This next 6 months is we're going to begin to see the shifts in our physical reality. And we just have to stop fighting with it. We have to start surfing it. We have to start being the change, practicing. On June 14th is the Saturn square Uranus. Right? This is really when we're going to begin to feel, and there's 3 major passes of this event this year. So again, it's that control versus rebellion. And so you're going to feel that internally. You're going to see that externally. You're going to see more distractions coming out in the world. You're going to see the government doing more distraction, more fear techniques. There's a potential for us to see more shortages in random things. And it's not that those things actually exist. It's that they were created as a way to try to control the mass population. And the more people we see not falling for this, the more we will see how many people are truly awakening. So when you see someone who is falling for the fear, the FOMO, oh my God, I have to run out and buy all kinds of toilet paper. I have to go out and buy all the gas. Or I have to go out and buy all the meat, whatever it is, whatever it happens to be, the wood, right? The more you see that, you can look at those people and say, those people are in fear. That's where they are in their journey. They're still in a lot of fear. They're still feeling like the government has all the answers. Ronald Reagan said, when the government comes out and says, we're here to help you, you know we're in trouble. And that's what they want. They're here to help you, right? They want to give you money. They want to give you medicine. They want to tell you what you can have and what you can't. They're not here to help you by any means. But that's for you to have that awareness and you to understand. So when you do see these distractions play out, just laugh. Be like, good try. And they're trying to control. They know that they're grasping at straws. That's all. And this inflation that we're seeing on products, on wood, on cars, on food, it's all happening for us to crash the monetary system. Remember, we can't build anything new until we implode the old. So these things that are happening that seem ridiculous, they're actually good things because we have to break the old system before the new one. Like you can't build a new casino on top of an old one. You got to implode the old one. So we're having all these little things that are happening are small little implosions. And pretty soon it's all going to come down. So we have to stop seeing these things as bad. They suck. It's inconvenient. That's for sure. And it's ridiculous and kind of comical to watch sometimes. But I promise it's temporary. And the more we stop fighting, the more we can accept and stop fighting, the faster we will start evolving. June 20th, we have the solstice. We also have Jupiter moving into retrograde in Pisces. This is Jupiter in Pisces. Jupiter's already in Pisces. This is a really good taste. So while June and July are going to be shit shows, Jupiter in Pisces is a really good thing. And it's going to bring a lot of good energy. It's going to catapult a lot of way showers into the limelight. It's going to really help with expanding the good, expanding everything, right? Jupiter's an expander. So not only, it's this perfect timing, right? With the changing of the tides, we're pulling the tide back further and wider than it's ever gone before so we can see more. So Jupiter in Pisces is a really good thing. It's going to be there for almost through part of July. And then this is going to be all of 2022. 2022 is going to be an amazing year for a lot of people. June 24th, we have the full moon in Capricorn. And then June 25th, we have Neptune retrograding in Pisces. Neptune is at home in Pisces. So it should be a fun time for me too. This summer should be really interesting play out for me just because I'm ruled by Pisces. So I made a couple of notes. I know a lot of people always ask me how we will feel this energy and where we could feel it, because that gives them peace of mind when they're having body pain. Remember, everything in all time and space that we have ever experienced or known is stored in our body. It's compressed. I've talked about this a lot, like, how a crystal's formed. When we're ascending, we're going from carbon to crystalline. We're going from something being the size of a house to now being the size of a crystal. So we're compacting it. And there's a lot of dormant information that lives inside of us that's already compacted from our ancestral line, from past lives, from all the things that we've done that we don't need on a daily basis, but we can access it. So it's not like you need to go to Akashic record. It's not you need to do a past life regression. Everything lives inside of your body. So learning to read your body, learning to read your energy is one of the key things to trusting yourself, but also to accessing the very wisdom that we need to navigate where we're going. So when we have body pains, right? We have body pains. There's a couple of reasons for that. It can be information coming online that's new, that was crystallized, that now is starting to break into a prism and it's starting to shoot signals and rewire things. We're having activations happening, which is an illumination. That's all an activation is, of something that already lives inside of you. And the other side is duality, right? So the other side of body pain is where you have your blocks, where you have your limiting beliefs, where you're storing your fears. So we can feel either side of that spectrum. And when we're feeling the release or the clearing or the alchemization of that density in your physical body, it's so that the activation can take place and the new process can begin. And oftentimes when the body is speaking, we've already missed the internal knowing, or we already didn't hear what our intuition, higher self, guides, whatever, were telling us. We already missed the message. We've already been unaware, so unaware that now our body's like an alarm, sounding off, sirens going, you're going to listen to me. You didn't hear me when I said it. You didn't get it when I brought the asshole to you to show you it. So now I'm going to send your body off and make you pay attention, because most people will listen to the pain in their body. So I want to kind of tell you where some of this stuff is going to be activated or going to start being alchemized. So with the solar eclipse and new moon, it's going to be the shoulders, the arms, the hands, and the lungs. So shoulders is responsibility. Shoulders is responsibility. And I can tell you, for me, I've been feeling it in my left shoulder. Shoulders responsibility, it's taking on the weight of the world, or taking on too much, or maybe you have a chip on your shoulder because you're not letting something go. You've been holding on to something for too long, right? It's a heaviness. When we talk about the hands and the arms, those are very much connected to the heart. When your hands are activated and your arms are, stuff's going on with your arms, it's a direct connect to the heart, right? When we touch and connect, it's intimacy, it's connection, it's heart-based. So this is showing us the symbol of what's happening within our heart space. And then the lungs is grief. The lungs is where we finally let go. Like, think about when you cross over and shed your human body, you take your last breath. So you might have lung issues. You might be coughing a lot. I know I've been coughing a lot the past 24 hours. The coughing and yawning are signs of releasing energy or alchemizing energy. You might feel chest constriction. You might get a cold in your chest. So just be aware of these things and, take the time to learn how to read it and communicate with it. Your body is a consciousness. And your body is a consciousness. And this is why, in most things that I offer, including private mentorship, it's about really getting people to tap into their body and read their energy and understand and communicate with it. Because again, you are not your body, but your body is a consciousness that you are currently driving. So you should probably know what all the different lights and noises mean when it happens. The full moon in Capricorn towards the end of the month is going to be your backbone, your joints, your knees, your skin, and your hair. So backbone is support. Backbone is support. So remember, if we use the metaphor that they gave of coming out of the tunnel at the end of this month, we come out of the tunnel, we're in a new space. You have to be able to have your own back. You're in a new place, a new energy. You don't know where you're going. You don't know who's around you. You don't know anybody. This is all metaphorical, but then again, it's not, right? So the backbone is saying, are you going to have your own back? Are you going to support yourself? Are you going to be committed and go through it? Joints and knees. Knees and joints are about moving forward, flexibility. Flexibility. Can you be adaptable? Can you be flexible? Can you be willing to move forward, even if it's slowly? Hair and skin. Our hair is our antennas. It helps us to communicate with the divine. Our hair helps us. They're like receivers. So our hair helps us pick up those subtle energies. And our skin is our largest organ. It shows our wear and tear. It shows how we care for ourselves. It shows what's happening internally. If you suffer from, like I've made it known, I had autoimmune, I had Hashimoto's, I had hypothyroid. I've healed those things because I had a mineral deficiency. And I healed those things by also getting to the energetic roots. Besides the mineral issue, I had energetic things happening, right? So when I was going through that, my skin looked like crap. I looked old. my skin had breakouts, it had discoloration, it just was dry. So your skin is a direct representation of what's happening inside of you on an energetic and a physical level, right? So we can have a chemical imbalance, like a mineral deficiency or a toxicity from chemicals, or you can have an energetic imbalance. Most of the time, it's both. So we want to make sure that we're paying attention and we're caring for ourselves, that we're flexible and adaptable, and that we have our own back. Okay. So those are kind of how some of the body things are going to work. Let me put my glasses on and take some questions if there are any. Bangladesh. Oh, cool. Norway. Yay. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Ashley. Hi, Carrie. Hi, everybody. Hi, Megan. Let's see. Wisconsin in the house. Nice. Hello, Shannon. Let's see if we have any over here. How do I find a safe place within after 50 years of not feeling safe? I feel called to change. What a great question. That's very complicated. It's not, it's a longer discussion than I want to have on this, but what I can tell you is, one, I did a course called Becoming the Change. It's actually a bonus still available for anyone who's in the portal of potential membership. So you can get that expensive course as a free bonus when you join the portal. That will tell you how to do it. But on a nutshell, it's about creating your structure and defining your structure. So in that course, I talk about the 3 Ds. And part of that is discipline. And part of that is, really you being discerning of who you are. So it's about figuring out who you are or who you want to be. If you don't know who you are, what do you like? What do you don't like? What will you tolerate? What will you won't tolerate? What are your values? What are your virtues? And not compromising those anymore. So getting very solid in who you are so that when anything new comes in, you can discern, oh, that doesn't belong. That doesn't belong in my container. That's not a match. And I'm not going to compromise out of fear of being rejected or not liked or abandoned. So that's part of it. That's the first thing I would tell you to do, is really get clear about who you are and who you're not. And that's why we go through life, you guys, of having terrible experiences and bumping into walls and fears and limiting beliefs, is because we have to know what we don't like so that we can get closer to what we do like. We have to figure out who we aren't so that we can discover who we are. And you can do this more consciously instead of running on autopilot, bumping into things. So I would start there. And the second thing I would tell you is, no matter what, love yourself anyway. And, I have it tattooed on my arm for a reason. It's to constantly remind myself that no matter what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing, I could be homeless, I could be hungry, I could be broken, I could be in the hospital, I could be happy, I could be a millionaire. It doesn't matter the spectrum. I could be skinny, I could be fat. I'm going to love myself where I'm at. And that's hard for people. The other thing I would tell you is to learn how to hold space for yourself. And again, that is you not trying to fix. That is you saying, I'm going to sit with myself in the dark. I'm going to be there for myself. When we don't feel safe, we try to fix, we try to control, we try to figure out what's happening, what's wrong. And we do this with our children, and we do this with our spouses, and we do this with our friends. And we're like, let me help you. Let me fix you. You're grieving. It's going to be okay. We spit out toxic positivity, and we try to fix them because we're so afraid of feeling what they're feeling. What they're feeling is going to trigger what's a match for us. This is why I always say there's no point in energy protection. I am you, you are me. You're only ever going to attract your own state of being. So if you feel like you need to protect yourself, then you're also saying you have to protect yourself from yourself, because you can't have one without the other. So I would start there with those things. and be consistent. And that means you're going to lose people, because when you put boundaries in place and you say, no, I use this analogy a lot, but I'm going to use it again. If I like chocolate ice cream and my partner likes vanilla and we only have enough to get one cone, I'm not going to compromise, because if I'm not going to eat vanilla if I don't like vanilla, and he's not going to want to eat chocolate if he doesn't like chocolate. That's not a compromise. But if we both enjoy strawberry, then that's a compromise. For me, for you, for us. Stop doing things that you don't want to do. It's okay to say no. And if those people leave you, abandon you, walk away from you, ridicule you, they're not your people. They have no respect for you whatsoever. So recognize that. And this is why a lot of times people feel lonely on this journey, because there's a lot of shedding that happens. You are alone for a little while, but then at the same time, you're really not, because I am you and you are me, and we're connected. We're all a part of this oneness, So start with those things. If you feel called to join the portal of potential, there's a link in my bio I'm talking to the people on TikTok, but if you want to join that, you can. You'll get access to the Becoming the Change That You Want to See course as a bonus for a little bit longer. And I hope that helps you, because let me tell you, I spent years not realizing that I didn't feel safe. I spent years, when people used to say that, I thought that's ridiculous. I feel safe. There's no one coming at me. There's no danger. But my anxiety, my controllingness, my constant need to be busy and to distract myself proved that was a lie. I didn't feel safe. So I had to learn to feel safe inside of myself. Otherwise, I could not have done all the things that I have done over the last year and a half. I would have been scared to death. I wouldn't have made it. I'd be homeless on the street right now. So I can tell you that I know how to do this, because I'm a living example. I've gone through it. Okay. Let's see. Shannon says, I don't want to do anything. I think I'm content, but then I worry that's depression. So there's a lot, when you don't want to do anything, that can be a multitude of things. And so without reading you in person, privately, I can just tell you and share with you some of the things that I have felt with that. And so when I don't want to do anything, it's because I'm not motivated. And what I'll tell you is, or inspired. And for me, it's more of I need to be inspired by something, and I'm not finding things to inspire me. I'm not doing the work. When I'm not motivated, the honest truth is you have to become your own motivator. You have to self-motivate. This is part of leading yourself. Before, we've always had something external to motivate us, and that's not going to happen anymore. You're going to have to be motivated. You're going to have to be self-motivated. You're going to go through periods where you feel content and at peace, and that's cool. But if you feel at peace and like you're at a good space and this is your chill point, that's different. But if you are worried that it's depression, then that tells me that there's a little bit of inner conflict, meaning you might be sitting in your safe zone, your comfort zone, and not really wanting to stretch yourself. Maybe you're taking a little break. Maybe you're taking a little rest. Don't judge yourself. But at the same time, we should never be in certain space for too long. We're not meant to be comfortable. There's no growth in being comfortable. None. So get used to being uncomfortable. Let it be okay. Recognize it's just an experience. It's an adventure. You don't know what's around the next corner, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing or a scary thing. And as I'm talking to you, there's some energies running on you. So if you feel a little hot or a little flush right now, just know that there's some energies that are coming towards you to be received if you so choose or want them. But I feel like for you, you need to decide, am I content? Am I at peace? And I'm just taking a little, I'm sitting I climbed the mountain and I'm sitting at the top and I'm enjoying the view. Or are you afraid to start growing again? Are you afraid to step out of your comfort zone? Because sometimes we just need a break, y'all. We just do. And it's okay if that's what you need. Don't Judge yourself. Trust me, if you stay in your comfort zone too long, you're going to get triggered and they're going to start trying to kick you out of it anyway. So it's up to you. Good question though. And good question from the person on TikTok. These are all good things. So just know that I'm here for you guys in more ways than one. I'm always doing the energetic work behind the scenes. I'm always working on a collective level. And I'm going to be showing up for you guys as much as I possibly can. I have a lot of services that are available. I will be doing some traveling this month. I'm doing the cover shoot, photo shoot for my book cover. We're getting there. We're getting to the end of this book so that it can get out into you guys' hands and out into the world. I just launched yesterday my merchandise. That's all about the I Am Awake movement, about my freedom not ending where your fear begins. And I feel like when we talked about earlier in the beginning about judging people and their decisions when it comes to the virus or anything else, that's the biggest thing for me, is the freedom to choose. And when we choose not to do it, when we choose not to participate in these things, that's our freedom of choice. And we can't say that they shouldn't have the freedom to do the same. And so the movement really, I Am Awake, really means that we each get to choose for ourselves what we want to experience. And there's no right or wrong here. And if their choice leads to them getting sick or them having issues or whatever that they go through, that was something that they chose to experience, even at a subconscious level. So for me, saying my freedom doesn't end where your fear begins means we both should be able to have the freedom to choose and explore the frequencies that we want to. And the minute we take our freedoms away, that is when we become slaves. And that's where we've been. We have been slaves for a very long time. And we don't want to be there anymore. So many of you want to be free. And when we're free, we're not judging. We're saying, it's cool. That's your choice. Cool. I respect where you are. I don't choose that for me, but I respect where you are. It doesn't mean that you can't keep sharing your message. It doesn't mean you can't keep shining your light, but you have to do it from a place of embodiment and not from a place of projection or fear, because you are afraid that their decision is going to negatively affect you. So that's why that clothing, that merchandise to me felt so good to put out there and have people wearing, because it sparks that conversation. It really gets people talking and unifying and opening their mind. People are more open to what you have to say when you're not coming from a defensive place or a projection place. When people will listen if you're coming from a heart space, when you're coming from a soft space. If they feel safe. If they don't feel safe, they're going to put their walls up and they're going to put up their dukes and they're going to start trying to project or defend where they are or over-explain themselves even. And so we have to just recognize where people are and see what we're doing has more to do with our internal state of being. So if you're judging, that's more on you. And this is why me and religion don't get along, because I feel like two wrongs don't make a right. And religion wants to punish people for doing something wrong. And those are two wrongs. And that's not loving. That's not God-like. That's not Christ-like. None of that. So if you guys are ready to quantum leap, if you want assistance from me, I have lots of services available, from courses you can get, do it yourself on my website, to the Portal of Potential membership, which I'm going to be jumping into a call in just a minute when I get done here, or private mentorship. Like I said, I have 3 spots available. That is the biggest quantum leap. So know that there is space. It's been a while since I've had space for this on my calendar. So I think it's really cool that we'll see who the new people are that are going to be coming in. And last but not least, you guys, be easy on yourselves. Have grace. We're learning to surf, not to figure out where the wave came from, how long the swell is going to be, or when the next swell is coming. We're just learning to surf. So practice surfing, practice balancing, practice trusting yourselves. Do that. Really show up for yourselves, okay? I love you guys so much. Thank you for showing up and listening today and sharing and donating. For those of you who did, I appreciate you. And anytime you guys donate through Super Chat on YouTube or through my thing, it really helps to support me creating more content and showing up more freely the way that I have been. So I just want to acknowledge those that have been doing that. So I love you so much. You guys have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.